hopefully. Or I'll just tell you to start at 4 minutes. Okay, welcome to the first day of our 2024 challenge for a happy year. I'm so happy to have you here. And what we're going to do today is, well, we're going to just go over a little bit of what we did today in the lesson, and then we're going to talk about some more stuff, and then we're going to workshop what you learned today. So I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so excited that having a fun and happy year is something that intrigues you. And I want to know what your discoveries were for today, for today's lesson. What did you learn? What got you excited? And if you didn't get to today's lesson, the pinned comment has the workbook and the resources available in it. There's also a bonus pep talk, which is really fun. And if you didn't get to today's lesson, here's a little overview for you. And don't feel like you know, it's great to do it in flow with everything, but if you can only come to the lives or whatever, you miss a day, that's okay. We just want to have you here. So today we went over when we're creating our goals for happiness, basically fuck what you heard and what other people think. You're already trying really hard, but you're trying hard at the wrong stuff, like being resilient in things that don't feel good, dead-end jobs, codependent relationships, communities that don't inspire us. We can be using the energy that we're constantly exerting to funnel into something else, something that feels good. And that's what we're going to try to do today. Happiness is different for everyone. It requires a definition of a list of feelings and verbs and actions from you so you know what it looks like. It can't just be this I know, you have to define it for yourself before we can move forward. And also your goals are often made in response to conforming to what other people say is wrong with you. So if you think that you are, or you're told that you are too quiet or too fat, you might believe that you should make a goal to talk more or to lose weight. But what if your goals weren't about fixing yourself and just having fun instead? So I asked you to write lists for 2 prompts. One was, what have you been told is, quote, wrong with you or weird about you that you actually secretly love? And the second thing was, what do you want to do that maybe feels kind of frivolous, that you think isn't appropriate for someone your age to do, or that you missed the chance to do, or that isn't okay for you to do now that you're an adult, or that you see kids or teenagers or even 20-somethings doing now and you feel jealous that they are getting the opportunity to do and you can't anymore or you missed out on. So if you haven't gotten the chance to answer those, then now is a great time to think about those questions and to share them in the chat. And if you have already, I'd love to know your answers. And if you're watching the replay, you can share them here as well. So tonight, we're going to transform at least one of those ideas into a goal for you to focus in on 2024 for this year. So I'm going to talk some more and give you an example. And while I'm talking, I want you to start typing out as many of your answers to these questions in the chat as you can. So like I said, if you didn't do the homework, you can do it now. Type directly into the chat, and you can put a star on the one that you feel the most excited about so I can help workshop it with you and help you turn it into a goal. And I also want to make it clear that you're still obviously allowed to have regular or adult grown-up goals. You can prioritize errands, organization, accomplishments, health, work, finances, whatever else, right? You can always figure out a way to also make those goals more fun. And we're going to talk about that too on the 4th and last day. But the thing is that we usually only look at those goals and we get so tired of them that it burns us out. You live your life however you want to without my permission, obviously, without anyone's permission. And you can have as many goals as you like and as many kinds as you like. What I'm here to do is help you and remind you to prioritize that we do want to have at least one fun, happy goal on your list this year. And we want to rank it really high in terms of importance. You have to believe it's really important too. You know, you have to dump out the ideas that your happy, fun goal is less important than any other adult goals that you have, because you're going to have that like feeling of, well, this isn't that important. I can go without that. I can, you know, the errands, the organization, the adulting, all these other things are more important than, you know, me jumping on a trampoline or me seeing stars, or, you know, I can't believe that meme went viral of the pasta ventures, you know, the people that wanted to go, the woman or whoever it was that was trying to indicate that goals can be fun. And they were saying, you know, you don't have to have a crazy, unfun New Year's resolution. You can look and try to find as many different pasta shapes as you can. Pasta Quest, that's what it was called. And I just love that that came at the same time as this, because it's exactly the energy that I'm trying to share with you. But there's going to be a time where you feel like, oh no, like it's not as important for me to find pasta shapes as it is for me to, you know, work on doing this, or this. Like, there are certain things that are more important, like survival, you know, safety, food, shelter. Those things are obviously the most important. But once we have those filled, you get to decide what your priorities are. And when you rank something above something else, like if you rank any other personal development goal above fun, that is your decision. And you get to decide, like, no, this is just as important to me or more important to me than anything else. And it gets to become a non-negotiable. And then you'll actually also start to see that fun opens up so much more for your life. When you are having fun, when you are feeling happy, whatever that means for you, then things start to flow like so much more. I'll share an example tomorrow of just, you know, how even when you're doing a lot more, you end up looking back and even in the moment enjoying more stuff because it's the right stuff, baby. Okay, so where was I at? I want you to dump out the idea that your happy and fun goal is less important than any other adult goals you have. That was my point. And really, if you believe that your happy fun goal is frivolous, then start believing that frivolous is a good thing. Why is that a bad thing? Frivolous can be good. Frivolous is necessary. Why? Maybe there's something about you that people have told you that you're frivolous, and you're wondering if that's a bad thing. Maybe that's something that we need to accept about ourselves first, and then we can have fun with it. Okay. Thank you for joining. So, take a look at your lists that you came up with from today's homework, and I'm going to use an example from my own, and then we can workshop yours. So what have I been told that's weird or wrong about me that I secretly love? Well, I have been told that I'm too loud, I'm too blunt, and that I make jokes at things that are inappropriate. And I really don't think that any of those things are bad when it comes to my own moral compass. And then what I would do is I would tell anybody that's doing this to, sorry, I'm trying to see the comments. Can I see it? Okay. I would tell anybody that's doing this to, like, think about, so here, for me, I would say all of these things naturally lead themselves into a way of, like, me doing something else. Like, is that a thing that can be clumped together? Do these naturally lead you into anything else? And, oh, here we go. All right, I wasn't seeing comments. There we go. And for example, I can like being loud, blunt, and making jokes are all things that I think led me into, let me back up. Okay. So I would ask myself if any of these things are things that naturally lead themselves into something else. And if being these things, loud, blunt, and making jokes, lend me to doing something like another activity that I find actionable or enjoyable. And then I can ask myself if anyone I know or admire has these traits. And then I can look at their lives and I can see if they participate in any hobbies or professions that I find enjoyable or I'm envious of. So that's your like train of thought for doing this with yourself as well. And basically what I would get to is that I think this collection of traits makes me good for being a comedian in some capacity, right? Many of the comedians I love have very similar traits of being loud, blunt, and making jokes at inappropriate points, right? So now I need to think of the modality, okay? Like, so maybe I want to be a comedian, but do I want to do like an open mic? Do I want to do a podcast? Do I want to do a video stand-up? Tell jokes through comic strips? You know, there's a lot of ways that this could work out for me. What of these sounds the most fun? The important thing here is that I don't just try to duplicate what someone else has done because I think it's successful or it would be successful. For me, while an open mic sounds cool, it doesn't sound as fun as hosting a comedy podcast because I'm more of a writer first than I am a speaker. So I would prefer to be able to write out my material in advance and be able to edit it if given the option. I'm also not totally comfortable with my tics and Tourette's on stage yet. And while those aren't reasons to stop me from ever going to an open mic, I would be really satisfied with an audio-based audience. And like, you know, and thinking that an on-stage in the moment way is the only way to do something that I want is just not true. Especially because I've seen other people do that before me. You don't want to get stuck in just because you've seen something done that way is the only way to do it. So an audio album might be more fun for me, right? And then maybe by the time I've done that, I might be more interested to get on stage at that point. Now, the second example is the prompt, what do I think people do that is frivolous or someone who is younger than me gets to do? I feel like I missed this conversation you guys are having. Like I might have missed the beginning of this, of why this is happening. One year I tried a new type of chocolate once a month. Godiva had a membership that allowed a free truffle monthly. I don't know if they do that anymore, but it was a wonderful resolution. Oh, you're just talking about a goal that you had. Yeah, that's fun. And I'm obsessed with Halloween. Another year I tried a new Mexican restaurant to see who had the best peach margarita. It was a success, a delicious resolution. I like these food-based resolutions. Those are fun. Being obsessed with Halloween. Okay, so is that something? Okay, we'll come back to these. This is great. Okay, I just wasn't sure if I like missed the beginning of something, but you guys just like literally jumped in. That's fine. Okay, love it. Okay, so getting back to the second example of what do I think people do that's frivolous or something that I'm jealous of. I thought about this a lot, and my answer is really lofty, and I'm gonna go with it because it was the first thing that I thought of, and usually that's the right thing to say. I'm jealous of innocence and naivety. I know that sounds really intangible and maybe calloused, but when I thought about what I was truly jealous of from people who are younger than me, I'm jealous of how some of them, not all of them, but some of them are like a younger version of me, and they might still have not seen how messed up things can get. And I absolutely believe that naivety is a function of deception and that one cannot exist without the other, meaning that like you can't really be naive if someone's not out to get you, right? But I just miss not having my guard up at all. Being totally trusting and not having to worry that someone had an ill intention. And I haven't really been able to put that Pandora back in the box. And I know that I can't be alone on that. And I know that's really a lot for a happy 2024 challenge, but I also think that this is a very theoretically difficult goal, right? And if we can come up with ways to achieve this, there's no excuse to not be able to come up with any other ideas for any of the other goals, right? So let's see. How can I make that into a fun, happy goal? How do I cultivate innocence and naivety? Honestly, I feel like this could be a whole class, and I'm not going to do that here today, but like, it's a good idea. But what I could do is literally Google how to get innocence back. And this, remember, these examples are meant to be applicable to your situation, right? So Google how to da 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 da, and I'll get back a ton of hits with actionable ideas, right? Anything that feels good can be part of my plan. Or you can do what I did and write out some umbrella themes that you see kind of being repeated that feel right. Now, some umbrella themes are going to be like, no, not that. But then you start to create your own actionable items underneath of each of them. So here are some umbrella themes that I noticed when I was researching how to cultivate innocence and naivety. Open your heart, trust, believe, and become optimistic. Now, some of these things are things that I've already taught master classes on, you know? These are things I have whole modules on. Some of them are things that I don't. Some of them are things that are harder for me. I think, optimism is something that I'm easier at. Trusting is something that is harder for me, right? The next one is seeking out wonder and awe. That is something that is easier for me. That's something that is I've taught about. The next one is inner child and play, connecting with your inner child and playing. That's something I know how to teach very easily. Rebelling and going against the status quo, weirdly, okay? Pleasure, cultivating pleasure, and also feeling safe. So then I would look at these umbrella topics and I would think about which of these umbrella themes feels the most fun and exciting to me, right? This is about coming up with not like the most shadow worky goal or the most like moving the needle goal. This is about doing something that feels fun and exciting. This is a happy goal. And then we want to have an actionable activity that makes sense with it. So if I'm gonna pick seeing wonder and awe, okay? And then I could say, I want to visit a natural, awe-inspiring location. Okay, so now making these into tangible goals. We're going to get into planning and scheduling and researching and equipment for goals tomorrow. That's going to be tomorrow. But I want you to have an understanding of taking these from like this lofty idea of something that's like, what was that? That was a ding that I don't know. Okay. A lofty idea of like, I would like to feel more innocent, right? To how do I make that happen? So something more realistic, something more tangible. So we're going to use both of the examples that I gave. The first example from prompt 1 was we ended up coming up with me making an audio-based comedy stand-up in some way. So I need to decide if that's going to be a podcast, an album I release on Spotify, or something else. If it's a podcast, am I going to release it every week, every month? How is that going to have to happen? How often? If it's a bigger goal, like it's happening once a year, then when is the due date? How often am I going to write it towards the end goal and record it? And then the second example, I want to visit awe-inspiring locations. How often do I want to do that? Once a month? Okay, that's like 12 locations. And then what counts towards that? Is it looking at the sky one night? Do I only want to do waterfalls? Then I need to make like a list of locations and ideas, right? And we're merging on the brink of like today's and tomorrow's topic, but I want you to start thinking about it. But if you get to this stage and you feel like you're needing to put a podcast out every month is not going to be fun, it's going to feel like more work, then you might have picked the wrong goal for what you want to work on right now. Because it shouldn't feel like work, it should feel like play. These goals should feel like play. We are looking at fun, happy goals that feel exciting. So if I'm needing to choose between these two options for myself that I set up for this challenge, I'd rather go look at the stars than commit to releasing a new podcast once a month. This is about adding more fun to my life, not more dread, not more stuff to do. So I want you to maybe pick 2 things and at the end, figure out which one feels like fun. If you feel like you're going to end up, everything that we do that's new is going to have an element of discomfort because it's something new, right? We talked today in the lesson about moving out of your comfort zone, and everything has discomfort in it, but we also don't want to make something in this class, this challenge, we don't want something that's going to knock you down. Like, that's not the point of this. We want something that is just joyful play, okay? So, like, I don't know why this just came to me, but I've always wanted to learn how to make origami stars, right? And I know that would be really fun if I just, like, knew how to do it. But the idea of, like, every time I've tried to do it, I end up having, like, a panic attack. Like, I just am so frustrated with the fact that I can't get them to pop open. And even though that sounds like a really whimsical goal, the logistics of the tangibility of sitting down to do that would actually frustrate the actual crap out of me. Just, it would be horrible. So that's not really a fun, happy goal. You know what I mean? And making a podcast, as much as it sounds fun because it's comedy, is just another kind of thing that I do already for work. But going outside and looking at the stars, we're getting much closer. Okay? I hope that's helpful. So now I want to take a look at the goals that you want to workshop. So what are your answers? What are the things that you want to try? What are the things that you want to turn into happy goals for this year? What are your ideas? Do you have an answer already? Do you know what it is that you want? Are you certain? Are you not sure yet? Are you feeling like this is something that I thought I wanted to do, but now I'm thinking about it and it doesn't actually feel that fun? It feels like a lot of work. You can share your answers in the comments. Candace said, I'd love to learn how to shuffle. I've tried many times and can't even do the most basic move. Okay, so is that something that would feel really fun to learn how to do? Or would that be frustrating like me with the origami? Melissa, do you want to do something that is, like, it seems like food is a really fun thing for you? Yes to which one? Yes to the frustrating or yes to it being fun? Melissa, it seems like food is a really fun thing for you with doing something monthly that's fun with food. Do you want to do something like that again? Do you want to try something different? It sounds fun. Okay, so we are looking at shuffling cards. Okay, so let's think about how you want to turn that into a goal. So you want to try, definitely like starting from the ground up then, if you can't do anything yet, right? So you could look at like a YouTube, I'm sure there's YouTube card shufflers, magicians that do tricks, all sorts of stuff. And having a video tutorial is going to be very helpful. The shuffle dance, that's fun. Okay, so tomorrow we're going to get into the planning, the how often, the recurrence, and all of that. And right now, maybe just think about what it looks like for you to do that shuffle dance. What does it look like for you to have been able to do that? What does the future look like when you have like completed this task and this ability? Once you have this skill set under your Batman belt and you know how to shuffle, how do you want to be able to implement that in your life? What does a Tuesday look like for you moving forward? Do you want to be able to bust it out at like a dinner party with your kids on a Thanksgiving dinner, or you want to be able to surprise people? Do you want to do it? Do you want to film yourself on Instagram? Do you want to do it on the street corner? You know, how do you want to do you want to do this naked in your room for yourself? Like, how does this look like acquiring the skill? What is the happiest fruition of having this? I would dance around the house all the time, shuffling the cards with the shuffle. I love that. Just for you. Okay, beautiful. Okay. Also, Melissa's saying I really want to learn some new dances. I watched the TikTok. I love that you say the TikTok. I say that too. I can tell that I'm old because I do that. My mom would always put the in front of stuff, and I would be like, Mom, it's not the hot topic, it's hot topic. God. Anyway, I watch TikTok and see the dances at weddings, and I want to be able to do them too. Ooh, okay. So are you talking about like ballroom dancing, like being able to dance with a partner, or are you talking about like line dancing? You know, like when they'll put on, you know, the cha-cha slide, or like any of those like group dances, because those are two different kinds. But that's a great goal. I love being able to like participate in dance settings. Actually, don't I danced for over a decade, and I don't know how to do any of the like this kind of dancing, you know, like with a partner. I don't know how to do any of that. I know how to do a lot of the line dances though. Those are fun. I would like to be able to learn how to dance with a partner. The group dances. Okay. Well, again, that is very easily attainable. You know what's really fun about this challenge is that when we pick something that's fun and lighthearted, the way to achieve it is so easily attainable. It's not like, oh well, I'm gonna have to, you know, I mean, it could be like your thing that is like gonna light you up the most could be going to Australia, and you might need a passport. You know what I mean? Like maybe that is the thing. But when we get down to it, if you go through these steps and you're like, what's the thing that's going to light me up the most and actually feel fun and not stressful, you're probably taking out as many logistics as you possibly can. And that means that the acquisition of this goal is going to be incredibly easy because it's fun and there's no gate in front of you. There's no lock, there's no nothing. The ability to get, it's going to be like zero supplies, you know what I mean? Like there's going to be no fees. It's just going to be like, let's just go. And yeah, and you might come up with a bunch of these things and be like, why was I doing like all these hard things before? I was making myself do like, you know, I don't know, like we have all these goals that are like so antiquated and difficult, but we don't have to do any of them. I think I'm gonna try new coffee shops, pretend that I'm a published author, and write and brainstorm ideas while sipping a new type of coffee. Oh my God, I love that the goal isn't to become a published author, but to write and brainstorm ideas while like being in the mindset that you already are. And doesn't that take the pressure off of stuff too? Like maybe while you do that, while you take the pressure off of yourself and decide that you're a published author and you start writing out ideas, you accidentally write a book. You know what I mean? Like maybe that is what happens anyway. And if it doesn't, who cares? But like, I don't know. I feel like I was reading something, and this guy referenced this guy that wrote 260 books or something, and none of them ever made it on like the bestseller list, or like how Carl Sagan wasn't even accepted into his like Hall of Fame thing for scientists. And he was just like listing out like all of these people that that did their thing and nobody really gave them their award, you know? Or like how like, oh, that was another example, like Glenn Close was nominated for like 8 Oscars, but she never won, you know? And I think that's such a really good reminder that like you can do the thing forever and never win, and also like you can also write a book and no one will ever maybe see it, like or you could not that nobody will ever see it if you put it out there, but I'm just saying like you could write a book and do it just for you. That's an option. You can learn a skill and do it just for you in your house. That's an option. There is no right or wrong way to do anything. I love making art and sharing it, and I believe that that is a really important aspect to creativity because it's a way to express yourself, it's a way to communicate. And ultimately, I feel like it's it can be a disservice to not share, but if it's a disservice to you to overextend yourself by sharing, then that's the real disservice, you know? And sometimes we have this pressure to overextend in every way, and one of those things is capitalizing on every idea and creative thing, and making money off of it or publishing it. And I don't know. I feel like I have contradicted myself a lot in the past 2 years over and over again. And I think that's also great. Like, I change my mind all the time. And you're allowed to change your mind too, you know? And I don't know. I think that it's okay for us to be not necessarily like hypocritical, but like to be in flux and to look at life with nuance and to not be sure of stuff and to admit that we're not sure and to let things change our minds and to say like, I want to publish a book today. That's my goal. And then to change our mind and be like, I don't know. I don't feel it right now. And then decide that you want to keep it all to yourself and that that's all right too, you know? If anything feels good, then that's what feels good. And that's really what's important. And if I've learned anything in the past year, it's that, I don't know, your center is, there's a part of you that doesn't change. And if we look, I don't know, I got really far away from my own message because I was so focused on surviving as a business. And one small step, I tried to fit into a design, a shape, a cookie cutter thing because I didn't know what else to do. There was no roadmap for me. So I tried to follow one because I didn't know what I was doing, you know? And then I looked up and I was like, what am I doing? This isn't right. This isn't right at all. I forgot to take pictures of colorful trash, and I forgot to interview people on the street, and I forgot to dress up as a banana, and I forgot all of that stuff. And when I remembered all those things that really make me happy, I was like, yeah, screw the rest of this. It's fine. And I think that's the thing is, you know, I gotta have more fun. We've gotta have more fun. There's no time to not have more fun. We've all got, I don't know how much time, but my goal is to set myself up for this year to have the most fun I've ever had. You know, I want to get back to gamifying life. I want to get back to making this a damn good time. And we all have the option, luckily, to set ourselves up a little bit on autopilot so that we can find the spaces to fill with fun. It's like we have to give ourselves permission to be happy. I'm glad you have given us all permission to be happy, find happy, and celebrate happy within us. Love it. Aww. Thanks, Melissa. We do have to give ourselves permission to be happy. Did you guys think about what happy is to you on that worksheet? I think having those words is really important for yourself. You know, I shared in the lesson what mine are. Because, you know, for some people, happy is like content. It's ease, it's peace, it's comfort, it's security, right? And sometimes it is that for me. Sometimes it's about finding that balance, you know? Sometimes it's like whatever you don't have at the moment, it's like searching for that. Sometimes I get that. But ultimately, for me, happy is, what did I say? Let me find my list. Excitement, jubilance, enthusiasm, weirdness, passion, fanaticism, eccentricity, maximalism, ambition, gaiety, intensity, liveliness, color, and spirit. Oh, you know, April shared her list. Oh, Candace, bubbly, sweetness, whimsy. Love it. April shared her answers earlier because I don't think she was able to be here. She said to her, happiness is color, fun, excitement, bouncy, and passion. I love bouncy. That's a really good one. And her answers to the questions earlier were collecting and displaying fun toys or stuffed animals, expressing, I think this is for, wait, which one is this? Oh, this is what she's been told is wrong or weird with her that she secretly loves. So collecting or displaying fun toys or stuffed animals, expressing herself through art or movement, not feeling self-conscious or not letting it stop her about singing in public or moving the way she wants to in public. That's a great answer. And then what does she feel jealous of other people? Oh, actually, maybe that's not I can't remember what the questions were that I asked from earlier today. What was this? I guess I'm confused about how she answered. But one of the other things was her eclectic mix of music that she loves listening to. Oh, I guess this is reversed. That's what she wishes she could do. Displaying fun toys or stuffed animals, expressing herself through art or movement, not feeling self-conscious, and singing and moving the way she wants to in public. That's what she wants to do. And what she feels is weird about her that she already loves is her eclectic mix of music that she loves, her love of reading whatever she can get her hands on, and daydreaming, and her quiet nature. Okay, got it. It's funny because I actually think that her answer of like what she's jealous of are things that I already do. And so that definitely doesn't mean that you have to be younger, right? You know, or a young person to do that. Because I have, like, above me right now is technically 6 shelves full of ducks and trolls and figurines and all sorts of stuff. And I do express myself through art and movement, and I sing and twirl in public. So that does not need to deter you from how old you are. Absolutely. And, you know, the stuffed animals is making me think of how neurodivergence is a huge factor in this as well. You know, I remember when I found out that one of the symptoms or signs of autism is being really interested and drawn to childlike things and having a lot of empathy for, quote, inanimate objects and things like that, and and being attracted to different colors and things. And I was like, oh, well, that's that. I mean, just those things on their own are definitely things that I am. And I thought that was interesting that that is part of what we're calling a neurodivergence. And I thought that, a lot of the things that are part of autism are what we have been calling eccentric for a long time, or, artsy, or what we didn't know what to call it, right? And frankly, like a lot of, not mental illness or divergence or whatever, any kind of quirk that before we had the label for whatever illness it was, or DSM label or whatever, we would probably just call somebody, eccentric or whatever. And I guess I'm just thinking about how a lot of us who are here, a lot of merriment makers, a lot of weirdos, a lot of people that are drawn to me, I know, are unique, not just in the way that they dress or display things or feel, but the way that they are, the way that they are set up in their brain and their body. And that this world is not ready. Literally, they're not ready for us. And it's always interesting to me when I meet somebody who is typical, like that they don't have any sort of anything, not even like a hint of anxiety or anything. It's always very interesting to me because most people that I know do, because like attracts like, but I know that if you're in my world that you probably have an experience with some sort of divergence, and that means that you probably have experienced from a very young age the feeling of being misrepresented, being misunderstood, being left out, feeling alone, and an exacerbated experience of what I explained in the video lesson today of the pressure to align your goals with the conformity of society. And I just want to deeply remind you that you are exactly the way you're supposed to be. I know sometimes that it physically hurts to be the way that you are supposed to be. But we're lucky to have you. Your version of happiness is reflected in your energy and your light. When you get to feel as light as you can. And you deserve to experience that as often as you can. And I hope that you know that having fun, whatever that means for you, is maybe the most important thing you can do for yourself. Does anybody have any questions? I love you. There will be a new video worksheet bonus tomorrow, and there will be another call like this to debrief and to go over more stuff tomorrow. And I appreciate you joining us for this challenge and prioritizing your own happiness and fun. You are my people, and I'm so grateful to know you. And I love you. Go have some fun. Go make some, go get excited off of this right now and think about whatever you decided you're going to do. Dance, coffee, shuffling cards, whatever it is. Go, why not start now? At the very least, make a plan. You're going to get a jump start on tomorrow, but let yourself get excited. And if you don't have the ability right now to do it, then do another micro thing right now. Have some fun right now. You don't have to go to bed yet. Have some fun before you sleep. I love you. I'll see you tomorrow night, same time. Google the shuffle. I will Google the shuffle. Absolutely. Okay. Bye, my loves.